Hi guys, good evening. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking about CSS Flexbox. Yes, today is all about CSS Flexbox. I recently released a video on CSS crash course, and in that video I made mention of the fact that I'm not going to be talking on CSS and grid. So this video is dedicated to CSS Flexbox, and I am going to be releasing another video on CSS grids. So CSS Flexbox and CSS grids, they are they are there to serve the same function, but they are different in their own way. So I'll talk more on the difference when I'm doing a video on CSS grid, or I can have a dedicated video to do CSS to do Flexbox versus grid. But today we'll just be focusing on CSS Flexbox. So what is this famous CSS Flexbox that I've been talking about? Well, CSS Flexbox is a layout model in CSS designed for efficient arrangement and distribution of items within a container, enabling easy creation of flexible and responsive web designs. This definition is very straight to the point for me, but it might not be for you, and that's fine. So it is my duty to explain it. First of all, you see some things are highlighted in blue and some things are just plain white. First of all, I want to tell you guys that I am not a designer by any means. So anything highlighted in blue, it has a very significant, it is significance. It has huge significance. That is why it is highlighted in blue. So, okay, CSS Flexbox, this is what we are talking about. It's a layout model. What is this layout model? When you are coding with HTML, everything you put on your page, they follow they are always arranged vertically, except inline elements that are arranged horizontally. What do I mean? They have a defined way that they are going to be arranged. If you don't alter their arrangement, inline elements, they are going to be arranged horizontally. Block level elements, they are going to be arranged vertically, and they are going to take 100% of their width. That is for block level elements. So this layout model now helps you to define how you want it to be, how you want the document, how you want the site to be. It helps you to control and manipulate the arrangement of HTML tags on your site, and it is designed for efficient arrangement. Like I said, arrangement and distribution of items within a container. Within a container, you can see I highlighted the container. Why did I highlight this? Because you are supposed to use this on containers, meaning it is not, I should not put it on a paragraph. You understand? I should put it on a container. You get? I should put it on a container because it is used to separate different, and it is used to arrange HTML elements. So it will not make sense if I'm putting display flex on an image or display flex on an input. You see, it does not make any sense. So it has to be something that has more than one, or at least one HTML element inside it. So it has to be a container. You understand? And it enables easy creation of flexible and responsive web designs. Flexible and responsive, both of them go hand in hand here, meaning that when you are using Flex, to an extent, you don't have to worry about responsiveness, because by default, when you are using display Flex, most of the time it is responsive. But sometimes you have to change display row to flex direction row to flex direction column. But to a very large extent, it is very responsive. So let's dive in and start coding. Alright, so this is what we have. I have created a HTML file that we are going to use. If I save this and go to the HTML document on my Chrome browser, you see that it is very much empty. So I just put divs. And div section. Okay, it is actually not supposed to be empty. Okay, so this is what we have. So these are some flex properties. We have justify content center, justify content start, justify content end, justify content space between, space around, space evenly, align item center, align item starts, items in wrap, and we have more. You understand? So I just did this so that I don't have to start typing HTML so that the video will not be too long. I intend to make this video as short as possible and as concise and straight to the point as possible. So I just want to show you guys the HTML that I did. So this should not be something strange to you. Let me just add spacing in between all these things. So you can see this is a section. Inside this section I have this h2, then a div. Inside this div I have 3 divs, 3 empty divs. Same thing here. Inside this section I have a h2, I have this div and 3 empty divs. Same thing here. Everything same thing. So it's not something that you should worry about that. Oh, you get, everything is just the same thing. I just added these classes so that I'll be working more on CSS than on HTML. You understand? So I'm going to create my CSS file and say flex.css, and the only logical thing for me to do next will be to link it in flex.css. I'm saving that, and I can divide my screen. So I want to add default stylings first to everything. So I put everything inside section. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say section. Let's say body first. The body, I can say background color, hashtag F4. Sorry. So once I say that, it's going to have this like light gray background, and I don't want the font size to be too big. Font size should be like, let's say 16 pixels. This should not change anything. I'll put it on the H2 tabs here. Font size, let's say 12. The 12 is too small. 16. Let's use it as 16. Let's use it as 16. So for the section, this section, they are going to have 2 pixels. Sorry, border will be 2 pixels solid black. 2 pixels solid black. And all of them, they are going to have margin bottom of 20 pixels. So of them are going to have margin bottom of 20 pixels. Each H2 is going to have the text decoration of underline. I have not started CSS. I have not started Flex yet. So I'm just trying to arrange everything. So inside each section, right? Inside each section, let's see. So inside each section, I have a div. And inside that div, I have for that div. You understand? Inside each section, I have a div. Inside that div, I have for that div. So I'm going to say inside the section, I have a div. Inside the div, inside the section, I have another div. And it's going to have a. I'm going to give each of them a height. I'll first give each of them a border of 1 pixel solid red, 1 pixel solid red, and they're going to have a height of 60 pixels and a width of 60 pixels. So once I say that, this is how they are going to be by default. This is how everything is going to be by default, right? I'm not giving them any margin or anything. This is how everything is going to be by default. Then I also want to do something. So I'm going to copy this. So I'll put this here. So I'm going to say the first child should have a background color of yellow, red, but I'll say orange. First child is going to have a background color of orange. I think this should be good. Let's make this black. Let's make this black. Okay. So the first child is going to have a background color of orange. Second child okay, sorry, the first will be red. I want to use colors of the rainbow. So the first is red, second is orange, then third will be green. Red, orange, green. So this is what we have, right? I like this. So this is what we have. So red, orange, green, red, orange, green, red, orange, green, red, orange, green. And apart from these guys I put numbers. I'm just doing this so that we can move, because sometimes we are going to reverse them. You get, I did not put numbers in all of them, so I just do this so that anyway you see red, you know that red is ought to be first, orange is going to be second, and green is going to be third. So if you see red at the end and green at the start, you know that it is reversed, something like that. So this is why I did it. So let's start working with Flex now. So let's start with justify content. Let's start with justify content center. So this is justify content center R. So I'm going to say justify dash content dash center dash R. So when you want to do if you want to use CSS Flexbox, what is the first thing that you're going to do? Display flex. That's the first thing that you're going to do. Display flex. When you say flex, you save it. Justify content center R. Okay, I don't use content. Justify center R. Let me just copy the name of this. Okay, you can see. So I've done display flex. By default, when you use display flex, everything is going to be arranged horizontally. Even if inline elements, block level elements, whatever thing you do, it is going to be arranged horizontally. That is why if I come to the body, if I come to this body here and say display flex, and I say it, you see everything, every single thing is going to be arranged horizontally. You understand? Everything is going to be arranged horizontally. So display flex by default has a flex direction of row in the sense that it arranges it horizontally. That is the first thing that you are going to understand. If you don't understand it, just accept it, that when you use display flex, it is going to arrange it horizontally. Good. And what is it arranging horizontally? When you put display flex on a container, it is arranging the direct child element. What do I mean by direct child element? The element that is directly inside that container. Like for example, now I put display flex on the body. What can this body container see? The body container can see only this section, can see only this section, it can see only all these sections. The only thing the body container is seeing is just what sections. The body container cannot directly see these divs and this h2 inside these sections. That is why it just arranged all these sections horizontally. But these internal divs and internal tags inside each section, it cannot really arrange them horizontally. Why? Because they are not direct elements They are not direct children. They are not direct HTML tags of the body tag. They are like let's take it like they are grandchildren. You understand? So the body is the father of the section. The section is the father of H2 and div. And the div is the father of 3 children or mother, anyone wants to say. So the body is like the grandmother or the great grandmother, or okay, let's say the grandmother. The body now gave birth to sections. The sections now give birth to H2 and a div. That div now give birth to triplets, red, orange, and green. So it is the div that gave birth to triplets here. The name of this div that gave birth to triplets is what? Justify center R. So it is this justify center. Let's remove this display flex now. You can see everything is back to normal. It is this justify center R that I now give what? Display flex. If I were to remove this display flex here and save it, you see it is no longer justified today. It is no longer it is no longer displayed horizontally. You understand? If I now come and say class of sample, if I give this one a class of sample and I say sample display flex and I say what is going to happen? It is going to arrange the H2 and this div horizontally. Why is it arranging this horizontally? Because these two are the direct children of this div, of this section with the class of sample. This sample now is a mother that gave birth to 2 children. It gave birth to H2 and it gave birth to this div. What is this name of? What is the name of this div? Justify center R. It is this justify center R that now gave birth to triplets, red, orange, and green. So if I put the display flex on this justify center R, it is going to arrange these 3 horizontally. If I put the display flex on this sample, it is going to arrange H2 and this div horizontally, as you can see here. But if I put the display flex on the body, it is going to arrange all the sections horizontally. Why are all these things happening like that? Because it is only going to arrange the direct child, the direct element under it horizontally. I hope we understand that. So I am going to that sample as a class. I'm just going to leave it there. Then I'm now going to continue my display flex. So you can see it is display flex. When it is display flex, why do we even need to give it display flex? Because we can now arrange it and manipulate it in any way we want. We can now arrange it and manipulate it in any way we want. We can now arrange it and manipulate it in any way we want. Why am I saying that? Why did I repeat that? So before I start doing justify content center and just align item center, let me say I wanted to arrange these triplets now to fill this space. You get? If I wanted to arrange these triplets to fill this space, what am I going to do? I'm now going to do something like I'll say justify content center R. I'll copy this. So inside justify content center R, there are divs, right? Div. I cannot open this. I can say margin right. I can say margin right 100 pixels. If I save it, 100 pixels is not enough to spread it across. Okay, I'll say it's not enough. I can say 150 pixels. Still not enough. I can say 200 pixels. Margin right. It's now, you can see how it is bumping it up because it is now too much. It is now shrinking the size. So I'm now like okay, this is not what I want. So I'll say 150 pixels. It is, and again, this 150 pixels, there's going to be a margin right of 150 pixels here, which I don't want. And you can see everything I'm doing. I'm gonna have to come here, right? I'll say last child, right? I can come and say last child, margin right 0, margin right 0. So once I fix that, I can now say, let's say 200 pixels. Once I save that, okay, it's almost close. 220 pixels, it's almost there. 200, let's say 250. You has already exceeded it. So I'll say 240, 230, 220. So 230 is the perfect one. You can see how long it took me to get to 230 to arrange these three to fit this box. Then this is where the problem now comes in. When I open it, you can see it is no longer enough. Why is it like this? Because it is not responsive. Why is it like this? Because it is not responsive. It is not responsive. So this is where Flex now comes in. So me doing margin right, doing 230 pixels, blah 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 blah. Some of you smarters might say, okay, use percentage. Even if I use percentage, so I can say, let's say 10%. I'll save it. Okay, 10% is too small, 20% still too small, 30%. Okay, let's say 35%, 36%, and it's okay. Even if I arrange it like this, you see it is still not responsive. You understand? So this is where Flex now comes in. This is where Flex now comes in. With Flex, I can remove all these things that I have done. Once I save it, this is how it is. Then I can come and do justify content space between. Once I save it, you see how many seconds did it take me to do justify content space between? Like automatically it just arranged it. Alright. I've actually forgotten where I was. I went to take care of family matters. Okay, basically what I'm saying about this display Flex, you can see it is very, very responsive. You can see how responsive it is. It can, it can stretch and shrink without putting extra space. So you don't even have to worry about now thinking of what margin and padding to use. You understand? With display Flex, this is justified content space between. I just want to talk a little bit about Flex before I start showing you guys the different properties of Flex. So with Flex, you can also do gap. And put gap 30 pixels. So this gap 30 pixels is just going to put a gap in between. So I don't have to do margin left or margin right. It is just going to put a gap in between, or in between the elements in the container. Basically, yes. It's just going to put it's just going to put space in between the elements of the container. Yes. So now let's focus on this particular section. So it is justify content center. So I can say justify content center, and what is going to happen? It is going to move it to the center. So after moving it to the center, I can now say I can still add my gap of 10 pixels. So you can see I have now added the gap of 10 pixels, but I just want to remove it. So this is justify content center. Good. So let's do justify content start. This will be Flex start, right? So let's just copy the name of the class. Let's just copy the name of the class. So that will be this guy. This is, and if you notice in bracket, I am putting row because by default Flex arranges when you use display Flex by default it is going to be arranged in row horizontally. So if I say display Flex, you can see it is arranged horizontally by default. So but you can change it to vertical if you want. So I can say justify content start. Okay, it is going to be here by default. So this will be let's say justify content Flex start. Once I save it, nothing is going to change. So you know what I'm going to do. I'll just copy this guy. I'll cut that guy and I'll put it here. Right? So I'll copy the flex end. Then it's still the same thing. No, I just want to. So when I say display Flex horizontal by default, right? Then I can say justify contents flex end. So it is now going to move to the end. So this is center, this is end, and this is start center end start, right? Center end start. So I can now do justify content space between. So let's go to our space between. This is justify between, right? Copy it and paste it here. Display flex, justify content space between. So once I say space between, it is now going to be spaced like this. So let's see what space around, space evenly, space. We have justify content space between, space around, and space evenly. So let's see what three of them are for. So we have justify content space, justify between, justify around, and justify evenly. Okay, and just make the classes here. This is justify dash, so space between, around, then even this. Okay, this is display X. This is also display X. So once I say that, these two, justify content space around and space evenly, both of them are display flex, right? So I can say justify content space, this is space around. So once I save it, you can see there is going to be space around it. So how is it like this one? These two, the spaces in between the elements are equal. So there's going to be equal space in between the elements, and there's going to be half of that space at the edges of the element. So space between, equal space between the elements, no space before and after the element. Justify content space around, there is equal space between the elements and half of that space before and after the element. Then justify content space evenly, space evenly, there's going to be equal space all around, equal space before, between, and after the content. So that is the difference between justify content space between, space around, and space evenly. And you find out that even though I have more red, orange, yellow, it's supposed to be yellow before green, red, orange, yellow, sorry, no green, red, orange, something like yellow. Let's add red, orange, yellow, green. Let's just add green to that to make it open. Green. Oh, after that, I just want to add extra divs at the end of each div. So everything is 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. So if I save it, four, 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 four. Okay, so same thing. I just wanted to show you guys that 2, 3, 4, 500, everything, it is still going to be the same. So you can see this is still space between, and it is still very much responsive, right? It's still very much responsive. So I don't even have to now start thinking of how I'm going to start arranging or calculating marginal padding. Everything is responsive. This is the beauty of display flex. So we have been working with flex direction row since. So this is justify content center. This is justify content end. Justify content start. Space between. Space around. Space evenly. Now let's go to align items center. Abi? Yes. Let's go to align items center. So this is for columns. Now let's start working with columns. Okay. So justify content items, align items center. It should be this one. So let's copy this, align item center. So when I do this and I press it here, so I can say display flex. So once I save it, my display flex, this is how it is. So I can now change the flex. Okay, no problem. I can say flex direction. Flex direction can be column. Once I save it, it is now going to be vertical bar. It is now going to be vertical bar. I can say column. I can say column reverse. If I say column reverse, what is going to happen? It is now going to reverse. You can see green is now on top, yellow is now second, orange is third, red is last. You can see green, yellow, orange, red. So you can see it has swapped it, it has reversed it. So column reverse. You can also do this with, you can also do row reverse. So I can come here, I can say flex direction. If I say flex direction row, nothing is going to happen. You can see I'm doing it for this justify evenly. Nothing is going to happen. Why? Because by default it is row. But if I say row reverse and I save it, what is going to happen? You now see that green is first, yellow is second, orange is third, and red is now last. Same thing is here. So with this orange column reverse, I can now say align items. When you are using justify flex direction column, and when you use justify content center or anything, it is not going to work just like that. You understand? It is not going to work. So you have to understand that if your flex direction is either in column or column reverse, it has to be, you have to now use align items, no longer justify content. You get, you now have to use align items. So I'll remove this one, and I can say align items center. So once I say align items center, sorry, I don't know why this is always going to the top. You see, it has now come here, align item center. I can also put a gap, right? I can also put a gap. Let's say, for example, okay, I want to show you guys something. Let me say, for example, I wanted to put space in between all these things. I would have had to do something like this. Then I'll say div, meaning the div inside here, and I'll say margin bottom 10 pixels, right? I'll say it. Then it is now going to be like this. Let me say I don't want any space at the bottom of this one. I have now had to do last child margin 0. You can see how stressful that is. I don't like stress. Nobody likes stress. Even if you like stress, as a web developer, you're supposed to find a way to reduce your stress. So instead of doing that, you can just simply do gap 10 pixels and you save it. When you do gap 10 pixels and you save it, automatically it is going to put gap just in between the elements. It is not going to put any gap or margin at the bottom of any of all those ones. You understand? So yes, so I'll just remove this guy and save it. So this is for align items center. I want to reverse the start and end. I'm just doing it so that I don't know. I'm just doing it because I feel like doing it. So this is end. So I can say I forgot to copy that. Align items end. I'll just copy this my border over here. I'll paste the border over here. I can say display can be flex. What is going to happen when you say display flex? Automatically it is going to arrange it horizontally. If you want to change it back to vertical version, you can say flex direction column. Once you save that, I don't save it so that okay, let me just show. Once you save that, it is going to now move. It is now going to come back here by default. Then I can say align items end. I don't need to do flex end. I can just say end, and by default it is going to come to this end over here. Then I can say for the stats, it is still going to be the same thing, but I'll just do it anyway. I think it is just going to be at the start where it is, but I'll just do it anyway. So if I go to my class, I can say display flex. If I say display flex and I save it, it is just going to arrange it horizontally as you already know. Flex direction is column, then align items stats. So once I say you should not see any change. So this is one part of the story. This is one part of the story. This is one part of the story. There's also another part of the story. You can align individual items, right? You can align individual items and align individual items. So let's take this. Align items center. For example, align items center. I can come here, right? This is align items center. Okay. Let's go to this center guy. Align items center. I can copy this one. Then I can say div first child. So the first div, I can now say align self. Align self. This align self is not now. It is not used on the container. It is used of the child. It is used on the child inside the container. You get it? It is not used on the container. It is used on the child inside the container. So if I say align self start, or okay, flex start. If I say align self flex start, what is going to happen? Okay, I have reversed this thing, so it is now working on the last one. So if I remove this, let me say flex direction column. So if I save it also work on the first chart. Yes. So I'd have commented that one out. Let me copy and paste, then I'll comment this one out. So it's the same thing. Yeah. Alright. Sorry about that. So you can see align self flex start. So I can still manipulate the individual items inside. So this is align self flex start. I can also the last child. Let's say the last child. Then this will be flex end. By default, everything is center. So it is now, you can see I have now aligned this one to the center. There's stretch. Let's see end child of 2 align self stretch. If I save that, fingers crossed. Okay, ignore it. Okay, why it is not stretched? It ought to be stretched though. Why it is not stretched is because I've given it a defined width. Supposing I did not give it a defined width, it is just going to, let me say width. If I say width also, it is going to be stretched. You see, it is going to be stretched. Why it was not stretched before was because I've already said all the divs should be 60 pixels. You get, so yeah. But this I know this might look like cheating sharp, or supposing I did not give it defined width, it would have been stretched. You guys just believe me. Okay, so this basically just work on arrangements. Yes, this is arrangement. Then in flex, when we are talking about flex, let's go to this justify content stats. This one that does not really have any. Let's go to this one. So if we do this, right, we can say flex. We can say flex 4, 3, 2, 1. Is this how to do it? Flex 4, 3. Okay, sorry, this is not how to do it. So what you can do, I thought that was a shortcut to do it, but no problem. So I can say div, right? I can say div, then first child, right? The first child, and I can say flex. If I say flex 2, what is going to happen? You can see it's stretched, meaning it is taking, basically it's just going to take more space than the rest of all these guys here. It's going to take more space than the rest of all these guys. This thing, it is not working exactly how it's supposed to work, because I have given everything defined in it. I've given everything defined in it. But what I'm saying, what I just want to show you guys, let me copy this one and put this on last child. Let me put this one on last child. Last child. Then I can say flex. So I say this is flex 4 and I save it. What is going to happen? Just take it that this one now has this one is going to have quadruple of the size that the normal one has. This, just take it that this orange and yellow have flex 1, red has flex 2, and green has flex 4. So green is going to take quadruple of the size that orange and yellow is going to take, while red is going to take double of the size that orange and yellow is going to take. And why is that happening? That is happening because I have already seen, because I've said this should have a flex of 4 and this should have a flex of 2. By default, everything has a flex of 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, now let's go to flex wrap. Let's go to flex wrap. We are almost wrapping up. Every phone in the world intended. So in this flex wrap, let's multiply this thing. So I'll save it like this. You know what I'll do? I'll say what is this? This is wrap. So I can say wrap is okay. The div inside wrap, right? And you can have, the div in wrap ends child odd should have a background color of, let's select different colors. I like this steel blue. Then the even guys, they are going to have a background color of, wow, that was the first to enter my mind, but thinking I might see something more appealing, which would be Indian. Let me go on this, I'm sorry. So once I save that and my laptop behaves, apparently I have done something horrible this time, which I highlighted everything before. Wow. Let me just, I highlighted everything before. So what I'll just do, I'll just copy this my two brothers here. I'll just copy them, then I'll undo. Okay, this is okay. So I'll save it. Then everything's back on track. Then I'll paste these guys here. When I do, okay, so this is what I wanted. So for this wrap now, right, I just wave them like this so that it look nice. So for this wrap, I want to now put this is wrap. The name of this section that is holding all these things is wrap. So I can say display flex. If I save it, right? If I save it, everything is going to try and squeeze themselves here. You can see everything squeeze themselves here. If I add extra, you see all of them are still trying to squeeze themselves. You see, this is the beauty of flex. Everything will just try to fit in. They just will see, the only goal is to please you, right? That is the beauty of flex. So I can say flex wrap, then I can put wrap. So once I save that, it is now going to wrap it. can see it is now going to arrange it in this way. So when it is arranging it this way, so that it should not, if the space is not enough, it can now go to the next line. Basically, that is what wrap is doing. If the space is not enough, it can go to the next line. And you can combine wrap with justify content. So I can still say justify content center. I can still say justify content center. It is going to bring everything to the center, right? Then I can put gap. I can put a gap of 10 pixels. So if I save that, you'll see that you can see how it is. So this is something about Flex that is really exciting. So you can do this, and you can also do justify content center and the rest of all that. So it is cool. So this more, where did I give this more? Order. Okay, this is order, right? So I can say order, display flex. So I'll save that. Okay, so I wanted to do order. So this is the last one. This one I put more. Let me change it to order. I'll change it to order. Then I can let me do something for this. So this is red, orange, green, blue. Red, orange, green, blue. So I can say order, and I can do display flex. So once I say display flex, by default, what happens? You can guess everything will arrange horizontally. So I can say order, or I can type order div first child. Then I can say order 2. So if I save that, what am I expecting? I'm expecting that this is red, orange, green, red, orange, yellow, green. This is order 2. Okay. So for the first child, I can come. Okay, you know what I'll do? I'll come here. Let's see. This is first child. Then this is order. Div. Nth child. Order. So this order, right? I'll also put order here. And I can copy this. So this is I already have the first child, which is 1. I have 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can come here. This is 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll save that. I'm not expecting to see anything. So I can say number 1 should be number 4. Number 1 should be number 4. Number 2 should be number 1 should be number 3. Number 2 should be number 5. Number 3 should be number 1. Number 4 should be number 2. And number 5 should be number 1, 2. Number 5 should be number 4. So if I save that, you see 3, 4, 1, 5, 2. I can change the arrangement. So you can see 3 is a number 1. You can see 3 has the other 1, 4 has other 2, 1 has other 3, 1 has other 3, 5 has other 4, and 2 has other 5. You can see. So I can change the order with Flex. And finally, what I want to do, a section, and I'll just say center. This will be 2. I'll just say center the a section. Or I'll just put center, right? I'll just put center. Then I'll give this class of center, right? So this I'll give this the class of center. So once I say this, you can see that's the class of center. So I want to show you guys how you can center a div. So this is center. This is the last thing that we do. So this center, I'll just give it a height of 50 VH. I'll give it a height of 50 VH. We should make it to be big like this. Then I can say background color of, since this is the last one, let's make it nice. Sky blue. Sky blue. Right? So this is the last one. So this center, look at it, I like the motion. Okay. So this center, I can come and give it a display. You can see only one thing is inside though, but still I can give it a display of flex. Display of flex. Once I give it display of flex, nothing is going to happen. It is still going to be the same, right? Normally it is supposed to be arranged horizontally, but just one thing is inside. So I can say justify content center. When I say justify content center, what is going to happen? It is now going to be at the center like this. Then I can say align items center, and once I save it, it is now going to be centralized. So this is a way to center a div. So this is where we draw the line and the cutting for our flex class. I believe this definitely, I know I did not cover everything, but when you understand the core concept of display flex, you can use it for any project at all in CSS. I think flex is one of the most important properties in CSS, if not the most important. The only thing that comes to mind that is more important than flex would be, I don't know, just all those basic things like font size and stuff. But apart from that, flex is okay. Flex is okay with you know, Messi and LeBron James, so it's all good. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am going to give you guys a video on CSS grid soon. I prefer working with flex to grid, but sometimes grid, if you want to grid at the basic level, is very good, but when you want to get complex with it, it can also get complex with you. So most of the time I like working with flex, but CSS grid is also very nice. So we can work on CSS grid. I can give you guys a teaser into CSS grid. So CSS grid will look like this. So if, let's say, this is the body, I just want to give you guys a small teaser so that you guys will with CSS, you guys will anticipate it. So I can say display grid. When I say display grid, nothing is going to happen just yet. I'm doing it on the body now generally. So I can say grid template column. You can see I can say 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. And if I save that, you see it is now going to be arranged like this. You should already be saying things like, what is this? Why is this? You can see, you say, this is how grid is. It just arranged everything into grid. So this is one grid, one grid, one grid, one grid, one grid, one grid, and stuff like that. Okay. So you can also, I can say 1FR, and it's now going to be in 4. It's now going to be 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't want to do it like this, I can say things like repeats 4, 1FR 2. I don't know if it's too complex. This is going to do the same thing. I can say repeat 2, then 2FR, 1FR. Once I say that, then it is now going to be 2, 1, 2, 1. So grid, like I said, it's complicated, more complicated than flex, but this is why we are developers. This is our calling, and we must answer the call. Thank you very much for, and if you guys notice, look at this flex. This is the wrap in action. This is not the grid. It's still wrapped. It's still like the wrap is still taking effect. You see, so Flex is just magical, to be honest. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed making this video. I have fun making it. So thank you very much. And again, using Flex can mess with the inner workings. We can mess with the okay. I'll not say mess. It can restructure the inner workings, restructure the anatomy of your web page. So you have to be careful. You have to know when to use Flex, when to use Grid. Sometimes when you use Flex and you are trying to do mobile responsiveness, I know I say Flex is mobile responsive, but in CSS nothing is rigid. You understand? So sometimes you see that Grid would have been the better option here. Sometimes when you use Grid, you see when you are doing mobile responsiveness, Flex would have been the better option. Most of the time you are using Flex and saying Grid would have been the better option. Few times you use Grid and say Flex would have been the better option. But regardless of that, whatever you want to use, just make sure you know what you are doing. That's just the summary of it. Thanks for watching this video. I forgot to tell you guys to subscribe at the beginning, so please, when you're watching this video, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your country, tell the world about this video. Thanks guys, and have a nice day.